Hello everyone, this is the Week 11 team builder for the NPBA versus the Grande Groudons. This is the final week of the regular season, and I am currently in first place. As you can see, I am 8-2 with a 17 differential. This is compared to the second place, who's also 8-2 with 17 differential. Since I beat him though, I'm in first place. That said, I am playing the guy in third place. If I lose to him, since his differential is already better than mine, I will actually be knocked down to third place unless the guy in second place also loses. So this is pretty much a must-win for me. I don't think, actually, the guy in second place is playing the guy in fourth place, so we both have strong opponents this week. That said, I really just want to win and not risk it. So here's my opponent's team. As you can see, his first four mons are very, very potent. Mega Alakazam and Landorus I are both bannable Pokemon in draft leagues, but we have them legal in this league, and he got both of them. Along with those guys, we got Corviknight, who's just an amazing wall, and Rillaboom, who's an amazing offensive presence, as well as Sylveon, who, honestly, I might need to make a couple changes to my team because of this Pokemon. So I'm gonna do that in a second. Actually, I'll do that right now because that's gonna bother me. So there we go. Anyway, he's got the Seismitoad. The Seismitoad isn't too much of an issue for me, though it does get Water Absorb, so it's definitely a good check to the Urshifu that I have. I of course have Incineroar. He has Incineroar, I mean, and this is really annoying for my Latias. But hopefully I can deal with it with all my other Pokemon because it's not too threatening to me, especially to my Urshifu. Hitmontop's not that bad, Raichu's not that bad, Salazzle's annoying to my Ferropex core, and then Kecleon is not scary. So I'm just going to jump into my team right now. I'm going to get to this Latias last because it's the most interesting set I have, so I'm going to just kick things off with my Urshifu Rapid Strike. I'm going a bulky choice band set this week, and this is because I really want to abuse Aqua Jet. Aqua Jet is going to be great against the Salazzle and the Alakazam. It does not one-shot the Alakazam, but it does two-shot. And it's also going to give me a really good matchup against this Rillaboom, because since I'm bulky, I can live a Grassy Glide, and I can't, I think there's a chance to OHKO with close combat, depending on his spread. But I can also just do a ton of damage with U-turn. And from there, I can U-turn into something like Toxapex and just basically force him out and get a free Scald or Toxic on something, so that'll be nice. I of course have Surging Strikes. It's a little risky. His Corviknight will probably have Rocky Helmet, or maybe his Sylveon. That said, it's not like it wants to take Surging Strikes. There's even somewhat of an argument for running something like Liquidation here, but I don't really think it's the best move. Of course, U-turn is going to give me some momentum, as well as like Mega Alakazam and Rillaboom are both weak to U-turn, so having a banded U-turn, obviously Alakazam will just die if it takes a banded U-turn, or even unbanded U-turn, it probably dies. Rillaboom takes like 60 to 70%, somewhere around there. If he's bulky, maybe 50 to 60%. For the rest of my team, next up on the team, I've got Ferrothorn. One second, no one here has nicknames. That's very important. So this is a Choppleberry Ferrothorn. Kind of a weird set, you might think, right? He has no fighting types. Why would I run Choppleberry? Well, I was thinking about it. I want this Ferrothorn to be able to answer Alakazam and Landorus. They don't get fire moves, so I'm not too scared of that, but they both get Focus Blast. And if I have a Choppleberry, that means I can live, I believe, 2 Focus Blasts from each. That may not be true for the Landorus, but I know for a fact it's true from the Alakazam. And they also have to risk missing. If they can't hit me with Focus Blast, they're going to have to use... Well, Alakazam can't do anything to me. Landorus can hit me with Earth Power, which will still hurt, but like, since I'm especially defensive, I'll still take it quite well. Along with that, I have Gyro Ball, which is going to do a ton to Alakazam, a good amount to Landorus. as well as a good amount to Sylveon just by being super effective. Knockoff is great here because Alakazam's weak to it, so it's not really a good switch in. And Landorus hates losing Life Orb. Corviknight will hate losing either Leftovers or Rocky Helmet. And Rillaboom really doesn't want to lose his potential choice item or maybe Assault Vest. And Sylveon does not want to lose its Leftovers. So a lot of his Pokemon are pretty reliant on their items, I would say. Maybe Rillaboom's not super reliant. Landorus is absolutely reliant on that Life Orb. Corviknight really likes that Leftovers for sustain, or that Rocky Helmet to shut down my Urshifu, so getting rid of those is going to be really nice. Since I have no Leftovers, I need Leech Seed. It's a little annoying that he has a Grass type, but most teams have Grass types. Leech Seed will also help me against Corviknight, and Sylveon especially. Of course, I have Stealth Rock. It just seemed like no real reason not to run it. I have to think, sorry. I'm not sure how much Banded Urshifu does to Alakazam. Give me 1 second. Okay, it does 60 to 70% to an Alakazam, so the Stealth Rocks aren't important for that calc, but it's still nice to chip his walls and force that Incineroar to run Heavy Duty Boots. Next up on the team, I'm going to be running Toxapex. So both Ferrothorn and Toxapex here are going to be special walls. That's because his two biggest threats are Alakazam and Landorus, and then his next biggest would probably be the Salazzle, so I want them to be able to handle those pretty well. Of course, Ferrothorn can't handle Salazzle, but at least Toxapex can. But it's really for these first two. The Rillaboom's pretty annoying, but Ferrothorn and Toxapex already handle Rillaboom really well, so I'm not too worried about that. Now, on this set, it's a little bit subject to change, but I've got Recover, Scald, Haze, and Toxic. Haze is just because he could set up with some of his Pokemon. Like a Bulk Up Corviknight could be annoying, or like an Iron Defense Corviknight. And I want to be able to mitigate that threat. I may end up changing that, so I'll let you guys know if I do. Scald is of course amazing to really make that Rillaboom and Corviknight kind of just get shut down. If they get burned, they're a lot less useful. It's also super effective against Incineroar and Landorus, so even though Toxapex isn't really offensive, I might get a good 35% off with a Scald on one of these Pokemon. Otherwise, Recover is just great here. This is really going to be good to shut down, particularly Corviknight and Rillaboom. I'm considering, the more and more I talk about it, I want this thing to be physically defensive. I don't know what I was thinking. This seems like an amazing Pokemon to be physically defensive. So give me just 1 second for that. I think that's a much better set, and I'm still considering changing Haze to something else. I just don't know what it would be. So I'm probably going to change that. Of course, I have Toxic. That's because I want to be able to beat the Sylveon. And I was going through my team, and you saw this at the start of the team builder. I didn't really have a good answer to Sylveon. Yeah, Urshifu hitting with Surging Strikes is probably going to KO. But it doesn't really want to switch into a Hyper Voice. And Ferrothorn doesn't want to take a Mystical Fire. And it can't OHKO with Gyro Ball. Volcarona and Latias can't really do much. I do have Psyshock on this Latias. I'll get to that later. You may have seen the secret tech. But I just wanted a little bit of extra breaking power on that Sylveon with Toxic. So next up, it's a set we've tried to run every week. Barely ever get it to work, but I got a bulky Volcarona set. This is supposed to be Modest Nature. It's got Quiver Dance, Bug Buzz, Flamethrower, Giga Drain. Pretty standard. Giga Drain is here for Seismitoad. We don't have like dedicated attacker for Seismitoad, so having Giga Drain on this is nice. Of course, he might think we have Power Whip on the Ferrothorn, so even if we don't have it, it's still like the threat of it's there. Anyways, Giga Drain is going to be great for Seismitoad. Flamethrower is great for Corviknight, and Bug Buzz will actually one-shot the Alakazam. And I think it does a lot to Rillaboom. I'm not sure what the calcs are on that. It is a 1-hit KO unless he's Assault Vest. It appears, yep. So that's really nice that we can just kill his Rillaboom outright with, sorry, Bug Buzz or Flamethrower. Now, if I can get off a Quiver Dance, he doesn't really have a way of stopping me other than Sylveon. And Salazzle. Salazzle does wall me, of course. And I am pretty scared of Salazzle. Thankfully, Latias, Urshifu, they can handle it perfectly fine. So, yes, it shuts down some of my Pokemon. Salazzle can, for example, poison Toxapex with its corrosion ability. It's not going to be too bad once I have these other two guys out on my first two Pokemon. I know I haven't showed you the Latias yet. This Pokemon is also bulky enough to live like a Psychic from Mega Alakazam, or a Psyshock, I think. And it should be able to take like something like Earth Power, a Brave Bird, lots of stuff. So it has some staying power, and it's just going to hit super hard with modest 135 special attack. I mean, it's as strong as Latias, basically. Latias has 140, this has 135, so it's going to be able to do a ton of damage. Last, not technically last, but I have this Scarf Ditto. If you look at my team, I had a lot of stuff that just was not good here. Crocodile, I kind of wanted to Scarf Crocodile, of course, for this Alakazam, but Crocodile is terrible into Corviknight Rillaboom. It's just terrible. It's not a good bring. It's not even that good against Landorus, and it's terrible against Sylveon, and not great against Seismitoad. It's okay there. So I did not want to bring Crocodile here. Comfey, I thought about it. It's just not strong enough to live like a Psyshock from Alakazam, or a Sludge Wave, or an Iron Head. Honestly, it seemed pretty bad in this matchup. It's only really good against like Raichu and Hitmontop, and I guess Sylveon too. It's a pretty bad matchup for Comfey. Aerodactyl I considered, but it doesn't outspeed the Alakazam, so it's not really worth bringing. It's pretty good against Rillaboom, but it can't really live a Grassy Glide, or can't take one well. I'm not actually sure if it lives or not, but it's not really going to be able to KO, and it's terrible against Corviknight. It's not great against Lando. So a lot of my Mons were pretty much shut down. I actually came pretty close to bringing Golduck and Electrode. I ultimately decided against it because Ditto's probably the best option, but Electrode with its 150 speed, I almost considered it. Like, I mean, I did consider it. I almost brought it until I realized it literally didn't get any moves. It was so bad against Landorus Rillaboom because it gets no coverage. It literally gets Explosion, like Sucker Punch, and then obviously a bunch of electric moves. So I ended up on Ditto. Ditto's great here because it stops the potential of a Alakazam like Calm Mind Sweep, or Landorus going for something like Rock Polish or Swords Dance, because I can just come in, although it's usually not physically offensive, but you know, let's say it is, or it's just Rock Polish. I can just come in, outspeed with my Choice Scarf. I say this every week. Having Ditto just makes it so they can't set up. Since I have Scarf, I can always just steal their stats off of Imposter, and just pretty much win from there if they make the mistake of setting up. It's also even good against like Corviknight Body Press set with like Iron Defense, and I think Sylveon gets Calm Mind. I'm not sure on that. It's not as good there, but it shuts it down just the same. So having this on my team is going to make him play a lot more conservatively with how he sets up. I'm going to go to my last set now. You may have seen it earlier. It's a bulky, minimum speed, or almost min speed, Mega Latias. I've got Psyshock. Psyshock's great stab. It's great for Sylveon. Great for Salazzle. Great for Hitmontop. I got Ice Beam, of course, for Lando and Rillaboom. I got Thunderbolt for the Corviknight. And the Incineroar. I wish I had Draco Meteor. But I realized this today. It learns Sucker Punch. And Sucker Punch is the way I beat Mega Alakazam. You'll see my team is pretty weak to Alakazam in terms of like Toxapex can't do anything. Yes, Urshifu can hit it really hard with Aqua Jet, but I can only hit it once because then I'm just going to die to Psychic. So I can't rely on this too much. Ferrothorn, yeah, it'll live one, but it doesn't KO with Gyro Ball. There's a small chance, but it's like 12% or something. And I think if he hits, or he could get like the special defense drop or something, like things could go wrong there. But Latias actually guarantees that I beat this Mega Alakazam with Sucker Punch, because he can never switch into me. If he switches into a Thunderbolt or an Ice Beam, as long as it's not a Psyshock, then Sucker Punch will just kill him. He can't OHKO me. There's no way for him to OHKO me unless he's already like Calm-Minded maybe twice, and then he has like Shadow Ball or Dazzling Gleam, which he'll probably have Shadow Ball, but it doesn't kill me. So I can just tank it, hit him with like an Ice Beam, and then the next turn he thinks he's gonna kill me with a second Shadow Ball, and I Sucker Punch and he's dead. So I didn't even know this Latias got Sucker Punch until today, and I saw it and I just knew I had to run it. It was just too perfect. I really wanted to run Draco Meteor, but into Corviknight Sylveon it doesn't seem amazing. It's obviously good against the Incineroar, but I'm not super scared of Incineroar. I do have Toxapex and Urshifu. That Urshifu really just kills it. So yeah, it's an annoying Pokemon for my team. I do expect him to bring it, but it's not the scariest thing in the world. From what I think he'll be bringing, I think it'll be Alakazam, Lando, Corviknight. He might not bring the Rillaboom into a Ferropex core. He'll probably bring Sylveon, Incineroar, and then Salazzle. That'll be my guess. So Alakazam, Lando, Corv, Sylveon, Salazzle, Incineroar. That's my guess. Incineroar Salazzle seems a little weird because it's two fire types, so I could definitely be wrong there. That's going to be my guess. Now, I always like to go over the game plan. It's kind of just kill Mega Alakazam and then just smack everything with Urshifu and Latias, and then try to set up with Volcarona. Pretty much the same as every week. Ditto's there as kind of a failsafe. He can't really ever beat Ditto. And then, of course, we got the core, the Ferropex core. It's done me well all season. I didn't say this earlier. I think he has the most broken team objectively, but I think my team counters it quite well. I can handle his threats pretty well. I think the Lando's actually the scariest, but even then, Latias is fine into Landorus. I don't think it's really actually that bad. So hopefully I can get the win this week, and if I do, I'll be in first, potentially second place, but either way, I'll have the first round bye. So I will see you guys next week, and I'll see you guys in playoffs a little bit later. Thank you. Bye.